Greetings to tubes. It is me again. Guy with funny hat with not funny hat, but well, I got funny headgear anyway. It is time for our Sunday sermon on a Saturday, and here I am hanging out with my favorite dead people. well, there's certainly an advantage to hanging out with the corpses in the boneyard. Is I win all the arguments. So I've taken photographs of headstones and making commentaries. And you know what amazes me is I suppose I'm wired completely wrong, but I figure if I'm going to be dead and the only thing I have to show for having be here is a granite stone in a lawn, then I would be using the opportunity to convey some deep wisdom, or tell a joke, or make some final commentary to the world. And all the headstones that I've looked through, not a one, not a single intentional joke, not a wise saying, not a aside from with the angels or rest no more, or or you can't take your no, that'd be me going, you can't take your work home with you. But no great insightful stuff. Not even so much as a knock-knock joke. I mean, come on, that's easy. No one even scribbled in a graffiti for a joke. And that's been my philosophy on the world, if you will. That it's not a good idea to take life too seriously, because no matter what you do, well, that's the end result, really, best as I can tell. Until Elon invents some type of technology that will allow me to create a simulation of myself inside a computer. Of course, it won't be me, but might fake out a few people. I just can't imagine anyone that would waste the dollars worth of electricity to create a simulation of me. I can't get people to listen to me now while I'm alive. But no, a sense of humor to it. I think you have to wear existence lightly, like a shawl, and not take everything so damn seriously, because all of these people had really important things they were doing, raising families and starting businesses and having all those great dreams that we have in America. And end result was still the same, I guess. But if I were to die and get a headstone, which isn't happening because I'm part of the Neptune Society, so they're going to make me a couple handfuls of ashes that someone's probably going to mix into concrete or fertilize their roses with. But I would hope, if I was going to have the money wasted on a headstone, that there's a good joke in there somewhere, or I'm fond of the one, "I told you I was sick," or no, maybe I should have seen the doctor, or "Knock knock, who's there?" At least, your final opportunity to make an impression on the world, and it should be more of an impression than 150 pounds of granite sinking ignominiously into the ground to fall over and no one to care. Another thing I noticed out here in the boneyard is, the Asians and the Mexicans are much more attentive about their gravestones. The families actually do come in and clean it up a little bit and put out some flowers and things like that. White people, hell nah. No, they can't be bothered. When the vandals kick over the headstones, they can't be bothered to even come out here and tilt the damn thing back up again. But I find all kinds of Latino graves that have got flowers and plants and little toys, and there was a full spread over at the mausoleum there, where they had a bottle of tequila and some beer and a bunch of other things. I guess you get thirsty when you die, which makes some sense, I guess. Get a little dehydrated. This cemetery, Rosedale, is there are a few things that I'm reminded of, aside from the lack of jokes. or maybe the joke's on me. But I don't know if it's unique to this cemetery, but you know, as I I was born and raised in Southern California mostly. I don't usually admit that in polite company, but it's true. Uh, don't ask me to swear on a Bible with it. Um, and uh, the history that I was fed was, you know, it's a history of, well, to put bluntly, history of white people. You know, there were some Indians and they went away. There were some Mexicans, they went away, and the white people did everything. And you wander around through this cemetery, and if this is a good example of California in general, that is a gross misrepresentation of the history of things. There are so many Asian tombstones, so many Latino last names, and you know, immigrants from Europe, Irish and Scottish, some white folks that came in from back east and that type of thing. But there's a whole hodgepodge of cultures, a whole mix of people. Los Angeles back in, well, this cemetery was built in 1884. So, you know, 1910, 1920s Los Angeles must have been amazing, of so many different cultures and so many backgrounds from all over the world pulled together here for a dream. And California has always been about dreams, whether it be the gold rush or ranchos or spreading religion or Hollywood. This has always been the place you go to chase a dream, so much more so than any place else as I can think of on the planet. Bigger than even New York. I know New Yorkers would hate that if I said it. Well, I did say that. Sorry. Oops. So there's that. You know, the history is not a white history. The history is everybody's history. Everybody from all corners of the earth, in every direction, all coming together and all chasing a dream. The other thing that gets me is how incredibly spoiled we are here in the 21st century. That you know, we arrogantly assume that we're going to have, you know, a life of at least 75 years or so, and mostly good health and such. And tombstone after tombstone after tombstone, you get a few long livers in there here and there, but mostly it's, boy, the first cutoff seems to be it was really hard to make it past 24. A lot of dead people under the age of 24. And then the next cutoff seems to be 45. And yeah, if you made it past 45, that was quite a trick. And then the final cutoff seems to be roughly 60. And you didn't, it doesn't look like on average you get people that made it 55 to 67 was a long life. 67 was rare. As I said, there's a few, you know, 80, 90 somethings in here, but they are rare. So, you know, life was a lot shorter back then, and I can only assume that people had to work that much harder to squeeze as much life as they could into such a short span of time. They were probably regularly being reminded that time is shorter than you think. With people dying all around you, in various wars and, you know, accidents and who knows what else. And I don't know, it seems like we live longer and have less life. But then, you know, I can't roll back to 1910 and see what daily life was like there. So my interpretations might be wrong. But you know, if technology goes the way that we're thinking over the next several years, then, you know, once again, if I were to have a headstone, which I'm not likely to, I can imagine some nutbag like me a century from now, wandering through the boneyard and coming across my tombstone and thinking, my God, he only made it to 96. He died so young. Assuming, at that point that maybe living to a couple hundred years or 400 years might be a fairly common thing. I mean, who knows what the future has in store? But it's not how much time you have, it's how much life you have. And, oh God, I've lost count of the number of people that live so much of their lives phoning it in, Netflixing and chilling, having a fairly mundane life, and that's fine to have a mundane life if you want one. It's a horrible idea if you're having a mundane life and you sit and seethe and simmer over things you wish you were doing but won't. And it's always, I don't have the money to X, blah, blah, blah. I have met people that did nothing that, just do dumb dead-end jobs and couch surf until they had $4,000 or $5,000 in the bank, and then stamp the passport and go to wherever, Singapore, Indonesia, Vietnam, Splitzinkistan, wherever the hell, and go hang out there for however many months until they get kicked out or run out of money or leave or whatever. We live at a time, especially now with AI and robotics and such, that the excuses for not doing X, whatever X is going to get flimsier and flimsier. The operational space of what's possible is about to go blam. And I mean, some lunkhead like me, I can sit down, scribble out some ideas, interact with ChatGPT, and I won't say in a week, but let's be gracious and say 6 months. In 6 months, I'm sure I could write a pretty decent novel that not that long ago could have easily taken me 8 years and still been complete crap. That's amazing, especially since, I don't know how to write. But, the AI can act like a turbocharger. It shouldn't do the thinking for you. But as a thing to take whatever the hell's that's in you and be able to manifest it, there's never been anything more powerful. And as I'm reminded of hearing all the time, that this is as basic and as limited as that technology is ever going to be. And they're predicting 2026 is when the rubber meets the road, if you will, and the current AI generation, I think we're at ChatGPT 5.1, and I think we're at Grok 5, and what is Google's version 3, something like that. And they're predicting that this technology should become 40 times cheaper, or looked a different way, 40 times more powerful by the end of next year. Jesus. The stuff it'll do now nearly makes me shit myself. So, we're talking about the people losing meaning, people losing purpose. That's like everything. That's a lack of imagination. I don't know what's in the space of the possible or the probable anymore. And nobody does. We're about to embark on all new uncharted territory of what can be experienced and seen within the span of one lifespan, or possibly how long one lifespan could be. I look at it and I eat my veggies, and I get good sleep, and I try not to stress out, and I don't have bad genes. I don't have great genes, but all medical science considered, with a little bit of luck, I've got a pretty damn good chance of making it to 75, and a substantially decent chance of making it well into my 80s, possibly late 80s, with the current state of technology. But I don't know what they invent over the next 5 years. I'm thinking I only have, 2 more decades of life left. It might be only 2 more centuries. When I think of that, my first, yeah, as you can see, my first reaction is exhaustion. It's like, oh my God, what are all the things I'm gonna have to think up to do with myself for another 2 centuries? I had enough trouble trying to think up enough things to keep myself occupied up to 60. But, of all the problems to have, of all the things to be concerned about, I'm going to run out of little games to play with myself. Maybe my game can be going to all the cemeteries and talking to the dead people. Once again, I mean, they're great listeners. They don't talk back too much. But as I've said before, there's a lot of projects I'm in the middle of, a lot of projects that I'm in the process of cobbling together, and I am the patron saint of well, we'll get around to it. I mean, I could talk the ears off a donkey, but when the rubber comes down to the road of actually doing the thing, most of the times, honestly, I punk out. It turns out, what I thought was easy when I do some investigation becomes, oh my God, that's a fuck of a lot more work than I imagined, or no, that's not possible, or 10 other people are currently doing it, or 25 other people already did it. And you get demoralizing of, yeah, well, I got bills to pay, so fuck it, I'll just watch some Netflix and masturbate, or I don't know what. But I'm quickly running out of excuses to not do things anymore, and that's frustrating because now I gotta look at myself in the mirror every week and go, okay, why didn't you do the thing that you said was so important? I think we're all there. No doubt we're looking at, the world is always chaotic. It's going to be unrecognizably compressed time, inhuman speed scale, quantum next level, chaotic weird over the next, however long, but certainly the next 12 years for sure before anything stabilizes. I like to call this moment in time the super tsunami, sharknado, tornado, earthquake, nuclear earthquake-ocane. Basically, yeah. Take the perfect storm, add an earthquake to it, nuclear weapon detonation, and flying sharks. Possibly the second or third coming of Christ too, just for kickers. It's going to be a wild ride, no doubt. But I guarantee you will not be bored. None of us will be bored. And yeah, to look at that future, not flinch, and to be thinking to yourself of, now, if there was ever enough X in me to do X, whatever the hell X is, you run out of excuses, go do it. Or else you'll end up like me, talking to dead people, and your phone in a cemetery in Los Angeles. Anyway, so that is our Sunday sermon on a Saturday, and goodbye tubes, hi, goodbye mom, and Mordak, the AI that runs on the Atari 2600 in Belarus, and until next time.